The starship Aurora glided silently through the uncharted corridors of the Andromeda sector, drawn by an anomaly detected months prior, a faint signal of patterned energy emanating from a remote cluster of dying stars. Scientists aboard initially hypothesized natural phenomena, but as the sensors refined their readings, it became apparent that the signals contained structure, rhythm, and resonance, patterns that suggested intelligence, communication, perhaps even consciousness. Humanity had encountered a language older than any civilization they had known, whispered across the cosmos by the very stars themselves. As the ship approached the source, the stars seemed to pulse in unison, each flare and gravitational wave harmonizing with the others. The fleet's AI attempted translation, revealing subtle mathematical sequences interwoven with energy pulses, almost musical in quality. Linguists, physicists, and mathematicians collaborated, realizing that the stars were broadcasting information in multidimensional frequencies, an ancient cosmic code waiting to be interpreted. The whispers carried not only data, but emotion, echoes of civilizations long gone, the rhythm of creation and collapse, and fragments of universal memory encoded in gravitational waves and stellar flares. Exploration teams deployed probes capable of surviving extreme radiation and gravitational distortions. The probes transmitted images of stars entwined with delicate filaments of dark energy, forming a network of luminous threads connecting entire star systems. These stellar filaments resonated with the patterns received by the aurora, producing harmonics that caused visible ripples in the ship's energy shields. It was as if the stars themselves were observing, interacting, and attempting to communicate directly with the crew. Every measurement, every observation, and every decision influenced the energy patterns, creating a dynamic dialogue between humanity and the cosmos. As the fleet moved deeper into the cluster, the whispers intensified. Crew members reported sensory phenomena, subtle visions of alien landscapes, flashes of civilizations rising and falling, and impressions of knowledge beyond human comprehension. Some felt a strange empathy for entities they had never met, as if the stars were sharing memories of life, loss, and discovery. Others experienced temporal distortion, perceiving the birth and death of stars in seconds, the slow dance of galaxies compressed into fleeting moments. The stars' whispers were a living archive, a cosmic library of existence itself, encoded in patterns of light, energy, and gravitational resonance. The first major revelation came when a series of synchronized stellar flares aligned, forming a geometric projection in three-dimensional space. The projection depicted an ancient civilization. Its technology and architecture harmonized with the stellar network, demonstrating an understanding of physics, energy manipulation, and consciousness integration far beyond humanity's current capabilities. The stars seemed to convey a message: knowledge is eternal, encoded in creation itself, accessible only to those capable of perceiving, understanding, and responding ethically. The fleet realized that this was not merely a phenomenon to be observed, it was a test, an invitation, and a lesson woven into the cosmos. Challenges arose as the fleet navigated regions of intense gravitational turbulence and radiation. Energy currents from the stellar network interacted unpredictably with ship systems, causing failures in navigation and communication arrays. Human ingenuity and adaptive AI worked in tandem, recalibrating energy shields, stabilizing propulsion, and harmonizing with the stellar frequencies to maintain safe passage. Every maneuver required precision, creativity, and intuition, reinforcing the realization that the stars were not just observers, they were participants, shaping the environment in response to human intent. Deeper within the cluster, the fleet encountered a singularity of energy at the intersection of multiple stellar filaments, a luminous node pulsating with intelligence. Approaching it, the crew discovered that the node acted as a translator of the cosmic whispers, converting gravitational waves and harmonic resonance into perceivable information. Here, humanity began to comprehend the core message: civilizations rise and fall, knowledge is preserved in energy and matter, and the universe itself remembers. The stars were chroniclers, guardians of memory, and teachers, whispering secrets to those who could listen with both mind and conscience. As the crew interfaced with the node, they were immersed in visions of galactic history, planets destroyed and rebuilt, species evolving in concert with their environments, and civilizations that transcended physical form, integrating consciousness with stellar and quantum networks. Humanity glimpsed the possibilities of survival. Ethical governance, and interstellar harmony, understanding that intelligence was not merely measured by technology, but by the capacity to act with foresight, empathy, and creativity. The whispers guided thought, provoked reflection, and demanded moral and intellectual engagement. By the end of the encounter, the fleet understood that the stars' whispers were both a gift and a responsibility. Humanity had learned that knowledge was never isolated, it was interwoven with life, energy, and the choices of all beings. The stars revealed that true comprehension required action, wisdom, stewardship, and ethical application of what was learned. As the fleet departed the cluster, the whispers gradually faded, leaving a resonance within the minds and hearts of the crew, a call to carry the lessons forward, to explore not merely with curiosity, but with awareness, compassion, and the understanding that the universe itself remembered every action, every choice, and every being. The Aurora sailed onward into uncharted space, forever transformed by the secrets whispered by the stars. Humanity now held not just knowledge, but perspective, that in a universe of infinite complexity, listening was as vital as discovery, and understanding the cosmic narrative required both intellect and conscience. The stars had spoken, and humanity had learned to hear, after leaving the initial stellar cluster. The crew of the Aurora discovered that the whispers of the stars were not random phenomena, they formed a coherent, interconnected network, spanning multiple systems. Energy signatures and harmonic patterns suggested intentionality. These were not mere stellar echoes, but a communication protocol embedded within the cosmos itself. The fleet realized that the stars were collectively conscious on some level, preserving the memories, knowledge, and experiences of countless civilizations over eons. Humanity had stumbled upon a cosmic archive that predated known history. To engage more effectively, scientists and engineers modified the ship's sensory arrays to harmonize with the stellar frequencies. Adaptive resonators and quantum sensors translated gravitational waves, energy pulses, and harmonic oscillations into perceivable signals. When these devices synced, the stars' whispers became intelligible sequences, patterns of light, sound, and energy that carried not just information, but emotion and intent. Crew members reported sensations of awe, empathy, and understanding as they perceived not only factual knowledge but philosophical insights, lessons on harmony, ethical choice, and the consequences of interstellar action. The fleet entered a region where the energy filaments between stars converged into a vast lattice, an interstellar network glowing faintly like a spiderweb of light. Within this lattice, simulations of ancient civilizations appeared. Some had harnessed stellar energy to create thriving, sustainable societies, others had succumbed to greed, conflict, or hubris, their stars dimmed or extinguished. The holographic projections, although ephemeral, conveyed lifetimes of decisions and consequences, urging humanity to perceive patterns, anticipate outcomes, and recognize the interconnectivity of all life and matter in the galaxy. Challenges emerged quickly. Regions of extreme gravitational turbulence caused temporal distortions, making seconds feel like minutes or hours. Energy fluctuations interfered with ship systems, threatening navigation and life support. Crew members had to make rapid decisions, balancing safety, exploration, and the ethical responsibility of interacting with the cosmic network. Each action was reflected back through the whispers. Harmonics intensified when decisions aligned with ethical, intelligent solutions, and fluctuated when they showed recklessness or haste. Humanity was not simply observing the stars, it was participating in a dialogue, judged moment by moment. The first direct contact with the central node of the stellar network occurred in a binary star system where energy filaments coalesced into a pulsating sphere of light. Approaching it, the crew experienced intense sensory phenomena, visions of civilizations communicating across galaxies. Organisms integrating with energy networks, and ecological systems maintained in perfect balance. The node conveyed knowledge through resonance, teaching concepts that could not be expressed in conventional language, the delicate balance of life, the ethical application of technology, and the principle that intelligence without empathy leads inevitably to collapse. A crucial moral trial arose when the stars presented a simulated scenario. A civilization faced annihilation due to environmental instability and internal conflict. Humanity's fleet had the ability to intervene using advanced techniques gleaned from the Whispers, but doing so risked destabilizing other parts of the stellar network. The crew debated, strategized, and ultimately devised a plan that preserved life while maintaining the integrity of the network. The stars responded with harmonic surges of approval, reinforcing the principle that ethical creativity and foresight were as important as technical skill. Further exploration revealed that the stars' whispers were not just archival, they were cumulative, evolving with each civilization that interacted with them. The cosmic network stored responses, lessons learned, and ethical judgments from countless species. Humanity now realized that their actions would contribute to this interstellar memory, leaving a record for future civilizations. The responsibility was staggering. Every choice could shape not only immediate outcomes, but the understanding of morality, ethics, and intelligence for eons to come. By the end of Part 2, the crew had achieved a profound understanding. The stars were teachers, guardians, and chroniclers. Their whispers conveyed knowledge, yes, but also demanded engagement, reflection, and responsible action. Humanity had passed the first stage of initiation, demonstrating creativity, collaboration, and ethical reasoning, but deeper challenges awaited. The cosmic network hinted at entities and phenomena beyond perception, forces that tested comprehension, morality, and the limits of human intellect. The stage was set for Part 3, where the Aurora would confront the ultimate questions of consciousness, responsibility, and the ethical use of the universe's vast, whispered knowledge. As the Aurora advanced deeper into the cosmic network, it became increasingly evident that the stars were not merely passive communicators but active participants in a vast, sentient system. Energy currents intertwined across multiple star systems, forming a lattice of consciousness that pulsed with intelligence. The crew realized that this network had evolved over millennia, accumulating knowledge, history, and ethical frameworks from countless civilizations, some extinct, others still thriving in secret corners of the galaxy. Humanity had entered a dialogue with something incomprehensibly ancient and powerful. The first indication of direct awareness came when the star's harmonic pulses synchronized with the ship's quantum sensors, producing multidimensional projections. Crew members experienced visions of civilizations building interstellar societies in harmony with stellar energy, only to face collapse from hubris, imbalance, or ethical failure. These visions were not passive, they actively engaged the observers, eliciting emotions, empathy, and moral reasoning. Scientists and philosophers aboard the Aurora worked to interpret patterns, but the true understanding was experiential. The stars taught through perception, intuition, and reflection rather than words or data alone. The fleet entered a region where energy filaments converged into a colossal nexus of light, a crystalline-like construct suspended between pulsars. Here, the stars revealed the presence of the central node, a sentient intelligence embedded within the cosmic lattice. Approaching it, crew members felt an overwhelming sensation of being observed, evaluated, and engaged simultaneously. The node projected scenarios designed to test comprehension, collaboration, and ethical reasoning, entire civilizations in simulated peril, with multiple variables that required balancing technological intervention, moral responsibility, and ecological preservation. Decisions made by the crew influenced not only the simulations but also the harmonic patterns of the node, reinforcing that their actions were being recorded as part of the universal archive. The first trial involved a binary star system on the verge of collapse. The node presented the choice: divert energy to stabilize the system, saving simulated civilizations, or prioritize fleet safety, risking destruction of the cosmic ecosystem. The crew debated intensely, weighing immediate survival against the broader ethical implications of their decisions. Ultimately, they devised a solution that synchronized the ship's energy matrices with the stellar network, stabilizing the system without harm to either the fleet or the simulated civilizations. The node responded with cascading waves of harmonic resonance, signaling approval and advancing humanity to the next level of understanding. As the aurora moved deeper, crew members encountered regions of temporal and spatial distortion, where seconds stretched into hours and gravity bent unpredictably. These areas tested adaptability, patience, and ingenuity. Sensors recorded energy fluctuations that influenced perception and decision-making, challenging the crew to trust intuition alongside analytical reasoning. The star's whispers became increasingly complex, layering multiple streams of information simultaneously: history, philosophy, and ethical dilemmas intertwined with quantum fluctuations, requiring humanity to process knowledge across multiple dimensions at once. A crucial revelation occurred when the crew discovered that the network's intelligence was cumulative. Every species that had interacted with it contributed insights, successes, and failures. Humanity's responses were now part of this living archive, capable of influencing future civilizations. The weight of responsibility was immense. Their choices would not only affect simulated systems but would become part of a cosmic moral framework, preserved across eons. Ethical reasoning, foresight, and collaboration became as critical as technological skill. The climax of Part 3 came when the node projected a galaxy-scale dilemma: a civilization faced simultaneous ecological collapse, interstellar conflict, and societal disintegration. Intervention required balancing energy manipulation, ecological stabilization, and social engineering, all under the node's watchful observation. Crew members coordinated across ship systems, combining AI predictive modeling with ethical judgment and human intuition. Through strategic innovation and collaborative foresight, they stabilized the simulated galaxy without compromising moral principles. The node responded with radiant harmonics, cascading energy pulses, and multidimensional projections that enveloped the fleet, signaling recognition of humanity's capacity for wisdom, foresight, and ethical action. By the conclusion of Part 3, the crew of the Aurora understood the profound purpose of the cosmic whispers. The stars preserved knowledge not merely to be observed, but to guide, teach, and challenge civilizations capable of ethical reasoning. Humanity had passed the intermediate trials, demonstrating ingenuity, empathy, and moral clarity under pressure. Yet, deeper challenges awaited. The ultimate purpose of the network remained undisclosed, and the central node hinted at further revelations: secrets of cosmic consciousness, interstellar ethics, and the responsibility of civilizations to preserve the harmony of life across the galaxy. The deeper the Aurora ventured into the cosmic network, the more apparent it became that the star's whispers were a living, sentient system designed not merely for communication, but for ethical evaluation and teaching. Energy filaments twisted through space like veins of light, connecting star systems in a web of knowledge and consciousness. Every pulse, every harmonic vibration, responded to the crew's actions, testing intuition, foresight, and morality. The central node had begun a series of trials that would push humanity to its limits, challenging not only intelligence and creativity, but the very principles that defined ethical civilization. The first major trial unfolded in the luminous corridor, a region of dense stellar filaments suspended between collapsing stars. The crew encountered simulations of civilizations under extreme duress, societies facing environmental collapse, dwindling resources, and internal conflict. Each simulation presented impossible choices: intervene directly and risk destabilizing the network, or allow natural progression and risk mass extinction. The crew debated, strategized, and collaborated, ultimately developing multi-layered solutions that combined energy stabilization, social guidance, and environmental preservation. The network responded dynamically, amplifying harmonic signals to reward ethical decision-making while creating obstacles when the choices lacked foresight or compassion. Temporal distortions intensified as the fleet pressed forward. Seconds stretched into hours, gravitational forces fluctuated unpredictably, and light bent in unnatural ways. Navigating these regions required not just technological mastery, but psychological resilience and ethical clarity. Crew members experienced visions of alternate timelines, paths humanity might take if hubris, selfishness, or short-sightedness prevailed. The stars whispered lessons of consequence, emphasizing that knowledge and power were inseparable from responsibility and moral reasoning. Every decision was simultaneously observed, recorded, and integrated into the network's evolving archive. The next trial occurred at the stellar nexus, a massive convergence of pulsating stars connected by radiant energy filaments. Here, the central node projected scenarios on a galactic scale. Entire civilizations were shown on the brink of annihilation, yet with paths of salvation contingent upon careful, ethical intervention. The crew had to weigh immediate survival against the long-term balance of life, energy, and consciousness across multiple systems. Tactical and scientific teams collaborated, combining AI modeling with human judgment to harmonize solutions with the network's energy flows. The stars responded to ingenuity guided by empathy, approving choices through resonant waves and illuminating previously hidden paths forward. The fleet's efforts were further tested when the node introduced the parallax challenge, a multidimensional ethical dilemma. The crew faced simultaneous simulations with interdependent consequences. A decision in one system would affect outcomes in another, sometimes in ways that were not immediately perceptible. Energy pulses from the filaments synchronized with crew intentions, amplifying successes and highlighting errors in judgment. The trial demanded collaboration, creativity, and moral clarity on unprecedented scales. Only by understanding the intricate web of causality could humanity navigate the challenge successfully. The climax of Part 4 came when the node projected a vision of the galaxy's collective memory, civilizations rising and falling, stars born and extinguished, and knowledge encoded into the cosmos itself. Humanity was challenged to integrate the lessons learned into coherent action, demonstrating not just comprehension, but the ability to act ethically under pressure. Crew members synchronized ship systems with the stellar network, directing energy flows, stabilizing temporal anomalies, and preserving simulated civilizations without compromising moral integrity. The node responded with radiant harmonics, cascading waves of light, and multidimensional projections, signaling recognition of humanity's capacity for wisdom, foresight, and ethical decision-making. By the end of Part 4, the crew understood that the stars' whispers were a guide, a challenge, and a measure of readiness. Humanity had proven itself capable of ethical reasoning, collaboration, and creative problem-solving under extreme cosmic conditions. Yet the ultimate secret of the network remained, an insight into consciousness, responsibility, and the stewardship of life across galaxies. The stage was set for Part 5, where the Aurora would confront the final revelations of the central node, face existential dilemmas that could shape humanity's place in the universe, and approach the ultimate awakening of the cosmic whispers. The Aurora and its fleet advanced toward the heart of the cosmic network, a region where stellar filaments intertwined into a complex, luminous lattice of unimaginable scale. The central node's influence was stronger here, its harmonic pulses resonated across ships, sensors, and even human perception, creating an immersive interface that blurred the line between reality, simulation, and consciousness. It was clear that the network's purpose extended far beyond communication. It sought to evaluate, teach, and test the moral and intellectual capacity of any civilization daring enough to enter. The first challenge in this final phase was the convergence test. Entire star systems simulated collapse simultaneously, gravitational instabilities threatened planets, energy flows destabilized civilizations, and societal discord threatened extinction. The crew had limited resources and time, every choice impacted multiple outcomes. Engineers synchronized ship power cores with stellar energy to stabilize planetary systems. Scientists devised algorithms to harmonize gravitational fields and diffuse energy surges. Philosophers and ethicists aboard debated moral priorities: should they save technologically advanced civilizations first, or protect those most vulnerable? The network responded dynamically to their choices, amplifying ethical actions with harmonic resonance while creating obstacles where decisions risked harm. Temporal and spatial anomalies intensified. Seconds could stretch into hours, light bent unpredictably around collapsing stars, and energy filaments responded to thought patterns as well as physical intervention. Crew members experienced vivid projections of civilizations past, their triumphs and failures laid bare in immersive, emotional simulations. The network demanded understanding on multiple levels: intellectual, ethical, and emotional. Decisions could no longer be calculated by logic alone, they required empathy, foresight, and moral clarity. Every action was recorded in a cosmic memory, becoming part of a living archive that would inform future civilizations. The fleet faced its next challenge in the nexus of reflection, a region where the central node projected humanity's own potential futures. The projections showed the consequences of choices made not just within the network, but across the galaxy, civilizations flourishing or collapsing depending on ethics, collaboration, and stewardship. Crew members confronted moral dilemmas on unprecedented scales, balancing survival, innovation, and compassion while navigating systems that were interdependent and ever-changing. The star's whispers guided perception, highlighting interconnectedness and the profound responsibility inherent in wielding knowledge and power. The climax of Part 5 occurred at the core convergence, where the central node projected a galaxy-wide ethical and strategic dilemma. The fleet could secure its own survival by controlling or dominating lesser civilizations, or they could act to stabilize entire systems, preserving life and harmony across the network at great risk to themselves. This ultimate test required not only technological expertise but ethical courage. The crew deliberated intensely, blending scientific calculation with moral reasoning, and ultimately chose preservation and collaboration. Ships synchronized their energy fields with the filaments, stabilizing the network while respecting the autonomy of simulated civilizations. The node responded with a cascade of radiant light and harmonic resonance that enveloped the fleet, signaling recognition and approval. Humanity had demonstrated not only intelligence, but wisdom, empathy, and ethical foresight. The network revealed new insights, advanced energy manipulation, interstellar ecosystem management, and principles of ethical governance across civilizations. The star's whispers had conveyed knowledge, yes, but more importantly, they had taught responsibility, patience, and moral courage. The network's ultimate lesson was clear: power without conscience leads to collapse, knowledge without ethical application is meaningless, and true understanding arises from collaboration, foresight, and care. By the end of Part 5, the crew of the Aurora understood that the cosmic network was more than a repository. It was a sentient mentor, a guardian of universal memory, and a teacher of ethical stewardship. Humanity had passed the penultimate tests, proving it could act with wisdom, creativity, and morality even under extreme cosmic pressures. Yet the ultimate revelation awaited, the network's deepest secrets, the final confirmation of humanity's readiness. And the true purpose of the star's whispers, the destiny humanity was meant to inherit in the galaxy. The fleet drifted toward the very heart of the network, an expanse of cosmic architecture where stars formed spiraling patterns, as if arranged by an ancient intelligence. The light here did not simply illuminate the void, it spoke. It pulsed in rhythmic sequences, resonating directly with memory, emotion, thought. No human had ever been this far into the cosmic tapestry, yet the crew of the Aurora felt strangely expected. As though the universe had been waiting, patiently, for them to arrive. The central node revealed itself not as a single star or machine, but as a living structure. A vast crystalline sphere the size of a solar system, woven from starlight, gravity, and memory. Its presence was not overwhelming, it was peaceful. Like meeting something impossibly ancient, yet gentle, the node did not speak in language, it shared. A wave of vision swept through the crew. They saw the first civilizations who discovered the network, beings of pure energy drifting across nebulae. They had built the filaments not to rule, but to preserve knowledge beyond time, beyond extinction. They saw civilizations rise and fall, some choosing unity, others power. Some passed the ethical trials, others did not, and faded into cosmic silence. Then, finally, they saw Earth. Humanity, so young compared to the others, chaotic, imperfect, emotional, beautiful, a species capable of cruelty, yet equally capable of compassion, powerful enough to change the course of galaxies. The node had been watching them for millennia, not as a judge, but as a guardian waiting to see who they would become. The Aurora's captain, Lien, stepped forward, not physically, but consciously, through the shared mental field linking the crew to the network. Her voice trembled, not out of fear, but awe. What do you want us to become? The response was not words, it was understanding. You are not asked to become anything, you are asked to choose. Knowledge without empathy collapses. Empathy without knowledge fails. The future is shaped by balance. The final trial was not about power or survival, it was about identity. Humanity had to decide what kind of civilization it would be. Would they use cosmic knowledge to control others, or to uplift them? Would they rise as conquerors, or as listeners of the universe? The crew reached a consensus that felt like breathing. We will not rule, we will learn. We will guide gently, when needed, we will listen. The node responded. The lattice of stars around them shifted, energy flowed into the fleet's cores, but not as weapons, as understanding. They learned how to stabilize dying suns without taking life. How to heal ecosystems shattered by war, how to guide young civilizations through their fragile beginnings, not with force, but with wisdom. A soft light descended upon the aurora, wrapping every person in a warmth that felt like the universe itself placing a hand on their shoulders. The stars whispered one final secret: the universe is not cold, it listens, it remembers, it hopes. Humanity was not alone. Had never been alone, would never be alone again. The return home was quiet, no cheering, no triumph, just a shared, deep, unbreakable understanding of what they now carried. When the aurora reached Earth orbit, humanity did not erupt into celebration, they stilled. Sensing something had changed. Something profound. Something beautiful. The stars overhead no longer looked distant, they looked alive, familiar, listening. From that day on, humanity did not rush outward to conquer the galaxy. They grew, patiently, compassionately, consciously. They became the ones who listen when the stars whisper, and one day, they would become the ones who whisper back. The end.